remake says faithful adaptation all over the marketing material, I instantly wave a red flag because they could just let the product speak for itself, but instead they have to try to convince you that they're doing their best job possible. And with the Gothic remake, we now know that they are censoring and really uglifying all of the females in this title. And now the moderators over on the Steam forums are silencing anybody who's criticizing this decision. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I did another video on the Gothic remake. It'll be linked down below, but I had a bad feeling about this. I wanted it to come out and be good. Truly, genuinely, Gothic is so cool, but in a time where the social justice warriors will scream about how orcs are just misunderstood and they were originally created to be, I don't know, representations of black people, which if you see that in an orc, you're probably the racist. And in a game where really the humans are, of course, slaves, yeah, I had a bad feeling that they would butcher this, and now we know the first major problem is the character designs. Whenever a game features some sort of prison setting and there are females who are used and abused and, slaves, you always know that their story is going to be changed. They're always going to be the heroes of their own tale. Their designs are going to be toned down, and that exact thing is happening here. I mean, we've got Littlefoot from The Land Before Time with her long, long neck. You've got, oh my gosh, what looks like the ugly stepsister in Shrek. I mean, this is just abysmal. As a woman myself, I want to see pretty female characters. I want to see cool looking outfits. And in such a dark game and setting, yeah, it's not a shocker to see that it has been modernized. The same thing happened with something like Dragon Age. It used to be much darker, grittier. Now, of course, it's more politically correct, and Gothic is politically correct as well. Now, if you don't know, Tencent bought THQ Nordic, the publisher of this, back in 2014. It was actually one of their first large acquisitions in the video game industry, and after that, I didn't ever really trust any product that was THQ Nordic labeled. I don't trust Embracer at all whatsoever, and it seems that maybe these developers just believe in social justice. Maybe they had certain guidelines they had to follow. Either way, this is a game that is definitely not going to be purchased by me, and I don't think a lot of people are going to want to buy it now. And it's also so important to point out that even these versions of the characters that you originally saw and probably loved and thought looked cool were actually already censored, because in the original German versions, these women were nude. They were given these costumes, like Valaya in Gomez's room. She was originally nude. I think it was in a bathtub, so they were already toned back, but the designs looked cool and they made sense to the setting. But in the case of these new designs, they look horrendous. I mean, their faces look terrible, their body proportions look really weird. Come on now, nobody wants to keep these women as slaves. Let's be honest. And well, gamers were very upset with this decision to heavily censor and ultimately uglify these women. Not every woman in a game needs to be some 10 out of 10 bombshell, but they at least need to look attractive. And people took to the Steam forums. They are being censored. I had done a video previously, like I mentioned. I showed off some of these threads that are now missing, like this one. Hey devs, why did you censor the female characters? I thought this was supposed to be a faithful remake, so why did you censor the revealing outfits from the female characters that were present in the original? This was posted on November 19th. Let's scroll on down to November 19th, and as you can see, it was deleted. There are several different tabs that I actually still had open. Too much political correctness. That one is removed. I just refreshed my webpage. Game got modernized. I think this one's still up. This one is up, but yes, it is locked, and a moderator marked it as putting all these topics in one place because Jesus Christ. So let me make this clear to everyone. If you have real concerns about the models of our game, we are more than happy to hear from you in a constructive manner. This toxic hostility will not work, and I will purge the forums for it. So this mod is clearly on a power trip. Their name is Zaidi, and this person is just locking threads, deleting them, purging them, as they said. And this isn't toxic hostility. This is just somebody saying the game got modernized RIP with images. That is not hostile. That is somebody criticizing. These people do not know what criticism is, and they constantly say, ooh, we allow constructive conversations and criticisms, but they don't. They are straight up lying. And there are tons of different threads that are being either posted and locked or straight up removed. I just showed several that were removed. Criticism isn't toxicity. Stop silencing feedback. It's honestly ironic to see you calling the community toxic while shutting down legitimate criticism by lumping everyone together as trolls and clown emote farmers. Players raise genuine concerns about censorship and changes to the game, and instead of addressing them, you dismiss the entire discussion and threaten to purge the forums. That's not constructive moderation. That's silencing feedback. I believe that forums like this need to have some sort of system where you can downvote a moderator's decisions. And so the people that actually own the game can see this feedback and see if there's 5,000 downvotes on a moderator's decision, they could choose at that point to move the moderator off the team and add a new moderator. I think that that would be much better so that these companies actually maybe can fix the situation before it gets out of control. But then you run into the issue of people at this company do ultimately agree with what this moderator is saying. I talk a lot about censorship on this channel because it's so sad to me when people get excited for a product and then it is completely butchered. And what makes it worse is when a moderator says your criticism isn't valid because the team doesn't like it. We are talking about an easy time for developers to gauge fan reactions. This game doesn't have an official release date. They've said 2026. So if they were smart, they could actually look at the discussions that are being had, look at the criticism, listening to videos like mine. I'm sure other creators will make videos too, and they could take that feedback into consideration, and then they could actually fix their product before release. But these developers are so hard-headed. They're activists. They don't want to listen to anybody but sides themselves, and that sucks to see because people wouldn't criticize if they didn't care. It's like with Call of Duties and Battlefields and the Veil Guards. If people didn't care about the existing franchise, people wouldn't criticize. We want companies to do better, but it's their own fault if they don't listen to us, because we are talking about a time where it's so easy to listen. You can go to social media, you can go to these threads, you can go to Reddit, and you can see thousands upon thousands of pieces of feedback very easy within minutes, but they never really care. So I'm curious to see what happens now. If the moderators apologize, if they backtrack, if when this finally comes out, these designs are altered. But unfortunately, we know how this usually goes, and 9 times out of 10, the developers don't listen. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.